when whippoorwill call, and evening is night, I hurry to my blue heaven.
Yeah, welcome to episode number 21 of My Blue Heaven. I'm here at Marble Stadium, just behind us down in the rooms. The boys will be celebrating their first win, or our first win of 2019. Not only did we celebrate our first win, but I don't know how we did it, but with 6 seconds remaining on the clock, there was a stoppage, and right against the point post, great little handball. The irony of the great little handball from Paddy Dow to Sam Walsh, who slotted through a goal, I reckon, with about a second remaining on the clock. And yeah, it's a strange feeling, isn't it? Not only to record our first win, but to also get the monkey off our back at the same time. It was like a greedy day for us Carlton supporters. And I don't know about you, it almost felt like it was going to be a loss if we weren't able to score that 100 points in the end. With about 5 minutes remaining, we still needed a couple of goals. But yeah, I don't know, it would have felt like a bit of a letdown in those dying stages, particularly when Dow missed that goal from close range. But it was great to see the kid involved, to give it off to Sam Walsh, and the celebrations from Carlton supporters and the players, obviously, on the ground was something to behold, considering what we've been through for a number of seasons now. Yeah, great performance. You know, I can't speak more highly of the way the boys went about it this afternoon. It was, for the first time, obviously, it was a four-quarter performance. There were a few little nervous moments in that third quarter where we had control. 5 goals up, 6 goals up at one stage. The Dogs got a couple of quick goals. It seemed like we just lost a bit of composure and a little bit of concentration. But the goal to Sam Petrevski, Seton, just before three-quarter time, to push that margin back out to 4 goals was really important. He was just absolutely magnificent today, Sam Petrevski, Seton. It was a real coming-of-age game. I thought he wasn't clearly our best player, but I thought he, early in the game, his ability to win the ball with Cripps, it was almost like they were playing Supercoach, those two boys, this afternoon, Cripps and Sam Petrevski, Seton. At one stage there, they were on track to have 50 disposals each. But it wasn't going to be that way, and Cripps ended up with, 37? He only had 5 kicks, and Sam Petrevski, Seton had the 35, but I thought he was our best player. So I might actually just give the votes straight away in regards to how I thought it unfolded. It was very, very difficult. It was a real team performance this afternoon against the Dogs. I didn't think the Dogs played with a lot of intensity. It was an unlike Western Bulldogs performance. Thought they had a lot of players down, particularly around the ball, which enabled the likes of Cripps and Dow and Fisher to get involved, particularly early in the game. But whether that was our ability to really really stamp our imprimatur, and I thought we had a real resolve. And I spoke about last week, a lack of cohesion as a team. But I thought today there was a real urgency about the way we played our football, and a real plan led by, obviously, Patrick Cripps, and that back line once again just being really, really tight. And there was some terrific transitional play, which I'll speak a little bit about later on. But in regards to the votes, look, I thought our midfield dominated today, and the clearances went our way 42-26, and we won comprehensively out of the middle 14-9. So apologies to a number of players, including Matthew Cruiser, who came back in today. He won 5 clearances himself. I thought he was really good. Thought Levi, coming into the team as well, provided a real presence up forward with his contested marking, although in that third quarter he did drop a few. I thought, down back, Jones once again on Norton, and Callum Marchbank showed some good form today. I thought Simo played his best game for the season. Daisy was serviceable once again, but I gave one vote to Nic Newman. He's been a real revelation for us coming across from the Sydney Swans. You know, he's had a couple of sort of down games in there, but I thought he was good in the opening game against the Tigers, and I thought he was wonderful again this afternoon down back, just with his composure. And some of his one-on-ones were really impressive as well. 21 disposals and 9 marks, and genuinely used the ball very well. Loved the game today. I thought it was probably his best game for us. Undoubtedly this year, but probably in his career. Zac Fisher ended up with 28 disposals, thought he in 7 clearances. Thought he used the ball very well. I was really happy for him to hit the scoreboard as well in that last quarter. Thought he was really good, very creative. 3 votes. Could have given him the 5 votes, Patrick Cripps, but I gave him the 3 votes this afternoon. 1 clearances, 11 of those. Only had the 5 kicks, but had 32 handballs, and just proved once again what an unbelievable footballer he is, coming up against another fantastic player in Markham Bontempelli. He clearly won the points this afternoon. I gave 2 votes to Harry McKay. When you're 204 centimetres or whatever he is, and you have 20 disposals and take, what did he have in the end? I think he had the 11 marks, 5 contested, and kicks 4 goals, 3. He could have quite easily got the 5 votes today, but I gave him 4. And Sam Petrevski Seton in his best game for the football club, 35 disposals, hardly wasted a ball. You know, it was just a breakout game for him, a wonderful performance by Sam Petrevski Seton. The most impressive thing about today was, I mentioned the clearances, won those 42-26, but we controlled the game through uncontested possessions, a lot of transition. We generally used the ball very well. We won the uncontested marks by 28 and the uncontested possessions by 45. It was really not so much one for the ages, but it was a great performance by the Blue Boys this afternoon. I'm just going to do something a little bit differently today, a little bit of a shorter version. I'm just going to go through each player. You know, I'll start with Patrick Cripps, the skipper. 37 disposals, 11 clearances. Out of 10, you know, it's definitely a 9 out of 10 for Patrick Cripps. He stood up. He had some strong words during the week in backing his coach and putting some real ownership on the players. I thought he stepped up at significant times this afternoon. It was a wonderful performance from our skipper. Sam Petrevski Seton, I gave him a 9.5 out of 10 today. Clearly his best game for the club. He just looked fantastic. Love him in the centre. Wins clearances, won 7 of those, 35 touches. His best possession game before that was 26 against the Gold Coast Suns last year. He's on track to have 40 today. Tied a little bit late, but he was brilliant. Mark Murphy, look, I thought he was good. 28 touches, generally used the ball really well on the outside. Didn't have a huge impact on the game, but was involved and showed some real poise, particularly in that first half. So I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10. Zac Fisher, loved his game today, Zac Fisher. We've been a little bit critical of Zac Fisher of just pumping the ball on his left foot. He did that a couple of times today, but his composure, his cleverness, some of his zigzagging in and out of traffic today, that was the Zac Fisher that excited us last year. And we didn't see a lot of that in the opening 4 games, so hopefully that is something for him to build on. I'll give him 8 out of 10 today, Zac Fisher. Sam Walsh, wow, you know, to kick that goal at that really important time with a couple of seconds remaining, we've almost been mozzied, the Carlton Football Club, with things like that. We just didn't think it was going to happen to be able to kick 100 points, and to have our youngest player, an 18-year-old, be able to do that with that amount of time. And I know for a fact that he knew that it was only a couple of seconds left on the clock. They were well aware of that, and to be able just to have that composure was unbelievable. There's another 8 out of 10, 26 touches for Sam Walsh. Really enjoyed Lockie Plowman's game today, although I thought at times Billy Gowers did cause him some headaches, you know, just with his athletic ability. But I spoke about that during the week, that Gowers did pose probably the biggest threat in terms of the Bulldogs forwards. But I thought it was Plowman's best game for the season. I thought he defended well, and I thought he used the ball very well, and he showed some tremendous courage this afternoon. It led from the front and had a real impact on the game. So it was a 7.5 for Lachie Plowman. Cam Paulson, look, there was some good moments with his pressure, a couple of really good tackles, but he didn't have a kick. 4 handballs, and let's be honest, he played a defensive role. So it's a concern. It's still a concern for us. We have to be realistic that the small forwards are a real concern, and a 4-possession game, you can get a little bit carried away with a win, but you know, you just like him to be doing a little bit more than that. You know, he generally worked hard, but you need to be having a bit more of an impact. So for me, Cam Paulson, I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. Thought Liam Jones was great on Aaron Norton. Only had the 5 disposals himself, but took 5 marks. Liam Jones, a couple of times in the second half, he got caught out of positions, but I thought, once again, it was a pretty good game by Liam Jones, 7 out of 10. Mitch McGovern, look, yeah, I think he can work a little bit harder, Mitch McGovern. I thought he had opportunities today to really, I mean, we had obviously Levi and Harry McKay really setting the standard up there, but I just thought he sort of drifted in and out of the game. I didn't think it was a great game by Mitch McGovern, although he did kick an important goal from long range. We know now that he's such a beautiful kick at the football. If he's going to get his opportunities in front of goal, he's not going to miss. So it's about a 5 out of 10 for Mitch McGovern. Thought he was serviceable. Jacob Wiedering was another one. I thought he fumbled a little bit early, but it was just another solid game by Jacob down back with Liam Jones. You know, it's a 6 out of 10 game for Wiedering. You know, it was hard to find a matchup at times for a few of these boys, considering that they only really went in with the one tall, and that was Aaron Norton. Thought Cruiser was great. Really good battle with Tim English, who I thought was pretty good around the ground, but he just, you know, 5 clearances for Matthew Cruiser. Coming back into the team, real presence around the ball at ground level. Thought his contested marking was pretty strong this afternoon, and was unlucky not to kick a couple of goals, particularly early in the game. Daisy, yeah, I thought it was okay. You know, game down back, you know, a lot of these, you know, Daisy and Simo, they were good today, but there's some boys knocking on the door in the VFL. I know Harrison McCready and Tom Williamson had some really good games, so they're just going to have to keep playing good footy. I thought Daisy let his opponent lead him up to the ball a couple of times today, but he showed his usual courage. Just the 14 disposals, but it was a solid performance by Daisy Thomas this afternoon. So I give him a 6 out of 10. Ed Curnow, I thought he was really quiet up until the last quarter. In fact, I'll just get his stats up for the last quarter, because I think he was pretty good. He had the 9 disposals in the last quarter. Zac Fisher had the 10 disposals. He was hardly sighted early, Ed Curnow, and I even noticed even his tackling was down early in the game as well. But I think when the pressure was on and we really needed to steady head around the ball and someone to really run the game out, he did provide you know, a bit of run in his legs. But I didn't think it was a great game by Ed Curnow. I give him, you know, 16 disposals. I give him a 5 out of 10. It was a pass mark. Paddy Dow, he can be a little bit frustrating at the moment, Paddy Dow, but it was great to see him early in the game. Hit one lace out. I think it was one of the first clearances out the middle, well, I think he kicked the ball up to a leading McGovern, and then we got the ball in front of inside forward 50 on the ball. We lowered the eyes. It was great to see the players get around Paddy Dow in that situation. I felt for him in the last quarter when he took that mark from 30 metres out, and Cripps went up to him to tell him to settle down, and he sprayed it to the right. But to be involved with that final chain, a slick little handball, was just great. And some of his breakaway speed today, he only had the 17 disposals, Paddy Dow, but kicked a goal, really important one, showed his breakaway speed. Thought it was a pretty solid performance by Paddy Dow, 7 out of 10. Jack Silvani, took him a while to work into the game, but I thought he showed a real presence up forward with his work rate. Dropped a few grabs, great goal in that second quarter. Showed some smarts. That's something to build on for him. 9 marks and 18 disposals. Yeah, I thought it was okay. He looked a little bit slow at times, but that's him. But I thought as the game went on, he just got better and better and better. So I give Jack Silvani a 7 out of 10. Harry McKay, you know, 5 contested grabs, 11 marks, 20 disposals and 4 goals. Some of his kicking, he's developing just beautifully. Harry McKay had a down game last week. And without his partner in crime, Charlie Curnow there, I just think it was such a really significant day for Harry McKay to step up. And he was involved in every quarter. He was good early, he was good late. He had a quiet patch in the third quarter, but he got involved, pushed up the ground. I thought his second efforts today were huge in regards to his work rate. So it's a 9.5 out of 10 for Harry McKay this afternoon. Simo, yeah, it was good by Simo. You know, I just think now that his leg speed's probably gone a little bit, but he was a steady head. You know, I thought the leaders really stepped up after half-time today or in that last quarter. You know, when at times this year we've really struggled to contain, you know, we've had momentum in games and we've allowed sides to kick, you know, quick successive goals. And you know, I just thought our leaders today, Cripps, Simo, Daisy at times, you know, were pretty important, you know, against, I must say, and let's put this in the context, against a pretty lethargic Western Bulldogs, to be perfectly honest. But I'm just going to take it that we made them play that well. Nic Newman, yeah, really good. 8 out of 10. Simo, 7 out of 10. Nic Newman, 8 out of 10. You know, as I mentioned in the votes, just his ability to read the ball off the boot. He's a good kick. He's pretty strong in the contest. He's one that's really stepped up for us this year. And I think, you know, moving forward, he's going to be a really valuable player. He's got a little bit of toughness with him as well. You know, he's involved in a couple of scuffles today, and he doesn't take a backward step. Nic Newman. Gibbo, Mick Gibbons, yeah, good. Great to see him kick his first goal. Could have got a second. Thought he worked really hard. Has a tendency to go onto his left foot, which can sometimes be a bit of a problem. Not a lot of penetration in that left foot. So it's an area of his game he'll need to work on. But I thought 21 disposals, spent a lot more time in the midfield. And I thought his performance was pretty good this afternoon, so gave him a 7 out of 10. Lockie Plowman, you know, I've mentioned those as well. So it's a great game, a great day to be a Carlton Football Club supporter. I'm not going to bang on and keep going on. We're all very happy, but it's just one little moment, isn't it? Just one little moment in our season, and a significant one. But we need to butter up next week against the Hawks in Launceston. And we have a decent, I mean, I know we haven't won over there, but we're very competitive in Launceston against the Hawks. So we need to be able to become consistent. Let's hope the boys are going to be grounded. You know, enjoy the win, be grounded. I'm sure, led by Patrick Cripps now, I'm sure he'll be able to settle them down. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the fact that we got the monkey off the back with 100 points. And tackle the Hawks next week over there in Tasmania. If you like these videos, great day for the Blue Baggers. Please like, please subscribe, and I will see you again next time.